Hi, I'm Mary, and welcome to our natural dye study groups. Before we actually do any dyeing, we need to cover some of the basics first. And the very first basic is, what are you going to dye? Now, if you are an old hand at this, you won't need this video. But if you are either new at dyeing or you're looking for options of what to dye, maybe you want to look at this video. But just remember that neither my husband, Roger, nor I are videographers, so this video may be a little bumpy. What we lack in professionalism, we hope to make up in content, okay? Okay, so let's get started. Okay, the very first consideration, the most obvious and easiest choice of what to dye is yarn, wool yarn to be exact. Well, that's because wool takes color easily, and also the fact that it's yarn makes it very manageable in the pot. This is a nice Targhee wool, and this is a nice Blueface Leicester or BFL yarn. Notice all I've done is just tie them with white cotton strings, and they're ready to go into the water. These are commercially spun yarns. In fact, this particular yarn, this BFL, I will be using throughout the course of the session so you can watch how it takes up color along the way. But you don't have to use mill-spun yarns. And by the way, there are thousands upon thousands of choices. This is just obviously two. You can also go with your own hand-spun yarn. This is a lovely ecru, which means creamy white, Shetland from Jan DeShira's Wild Fiber Ranch. And this is also a Shetland, also from Jan DeShira's ranch. This is a different colored sheep. Both of them are natural, both of them are straight off the sheep, but notice the difference in colors. Now, if I were to put both of these in the same pot of dye, I'm guesstimating that I will end up with a slightly different two shades or two hues of the same color, which means it's fun to play with. So what I'm getting at is that you don't have to pick just white ecru yarn. You can deal or pick out, let's say, a beautiful gray. This is Shetland as well. And if I were to put this into a pot of Osage orange, which is a yellow, I'm predicting it will become a beautiful soft green. This color is also a great option to consider. Now, it's not yet ready to go. I still have to apply it. This is also Shetland, and look at that beautiful fawn color. That's I haven't done much dyeing with the soft browns, but I will do so in the months ahead. Now, these are wools. You can also dye or use as yarn with alpaca, with yak, with camel, any of the animal or protein-based fibers. But you don't have to stick with wool. You can pick, for example, this beautiful blend of silk and wool, 50-50. Silk picks up color so exquisitely. It allows, or it refracts color, so you have a real sheen, a real luster, a glow to the color. So you might want to consider putting silk into the mix. If you're really, bent on luxury, try 100% silk. This is Bombyx, which is also known as cultivated or mulberry silk. And I bought this a long time ago. It cost an arm and a leg then, and I think it's going to cost more than an arm and a leg now. This is pure luxury. And here's the deal. If you don't want silk because you're a little, you don't want the cost, consider mohair. Now, this isn't the best example, but mohair has the same sheen as silk does. It's just not as expensive. Now, this particular mohair boucle, which is a blend, I believe, I think it's got a little bit of nylon in it. It's a very fine yarn, a very thin yarn, and I'm not the best of knitters. So what I like to do with something this thin is dye it, but then carry it alongside my main yarn that I'm knitting up with, and it adds a wonderful texture and a wonderful glow. Okay, these are some options of yarn. But what if you don't want to dye with yarn? Consider fabric. Here is Habitai silk. This is not a scarf. If you wanted to get scarf blanks, I encourage you to do so. That would be through Dharma Trading Company or tie silks. This is actually fabric. This is yardage. I plan to cut, oops, dirty yardage. I plan to cut this up into squares and then practice different dyeing options in each session so you can see what alternatives you have. You don't have to just dunk color or dunk your fiber into a pot of yarn. There's other things to do. Okay, so in addition to fiber, what if you're a spinner? Your options increase. This is combed top, and it's your best option. It's your easiest option. You do have to tie it up, and you do have to put it in a mesh bag to keep it intact while you're immersing it in the hot waters. But it's wonderful to dye with, and I do it a lot. This is 100% merino. All you have to do is scour it, that is to say wash it, and it's ready to be dyed. This is a blend, something I encourage all of you to play with. This is 75% white blue face Leicester, that's correct, and 25% black blue face Leicester, although this looks pretty brown to me. I have not used this blend before, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it takes color. Okay, and for the hardcore spinners, those that like to start with the raw fleece, here is a beautiful girl. Her name is Faith. She's a cross between Merino, Lincoln, Wensleydale, and Cormo, which makes it her fleece both very, very fine and very, very long staple. No surprise, Faith was the supreme grand champion of hand spinning fleeces at the 2013 California Wool and Fiber Festival, and she was also the judge's choice. She is part of Peggy Agnew's flock of Red Creek Farm. She's gorgeous. And the last thing in terms of possibilities is for you to consider mohair lock. It adds the beautiful shine that silk does. This one is a natural silver leaning to black mohair lock. Excuse me. It is from Sandy Young's flock of Angora goats, and that's Buckeye Farms. I will dye this throughout all of the sessions to show you what color or how color affects a gray base, okay? Now, these are just some of the possibilities. What I want to do is show you what not to use. The first is stay away from cellulose or plant-based fibers to begin with. This is cotton. We'll use this later on in our sessions, but not now, okay? The same for linen, the same for hemp. Stay away from these for now. And the other real caveat is don't try to dye a carded bat or a carded roving. This is a carded roving. It will not withstand hot water, which natural dyeing for the most part requires. You can see how lovely it is. It's ready to spin, but you can also see how fragile it is. It will simply either mat down or fall apart if you put it in hot water. So there you have it. These are just some of the many possibilities. Definitely, I would love to know your choice of fibers. I would also like to hear your questions too. So it's your turn now, and thanks. We'll see you soon.